Hey, what's up, Packer Nation? Here for Victory Monday. How about it? The celebration continues. Welcome to Coast Packers. I'm Bernie Bango. I'll let him introduce himself here.
Yeah, Amar Desai up in here. Hey, man, I am Cloud 9, baby. Cloud 9. Cloud freaking 9. I know I think everyone pinched themselves this morning. Couldn't believe what happened yesterday. And, man, I'm hyped, man. Everyone keeps saying this house money stuff, man. But all I know is that we came in yesterday. I think we all had like a little bit of hope, but just didn't know what team was going to show up. And it just feels good to know like we probably gonna have another 15, 20 years of awesome quarterback play. I think we take that for granted. And man, it's just I can't even talk trash right now about Barry, which I normally like to do because my man showed up, even though he gave them some points at the end. But whew, how do you feel, man? How are you doing? Like you had, I know you were talking about an opening statement. I want you to go first because I know where you're going to where you're going with, and that needs to be the focal point right now. Mine is
all right.
Okay, yours is going to be awesome.
Let's get into it. We're going to do our opening statements, and then we're going to get our guest out here. We're going to really get into stuff. But first, opening statements, baby. My opening statement is actually inspired by a Robin Adams written article, which you can go read over at Wisconsin Sports Heroics. That this game was one for the history books. Obviously an eye-opening first playoff game by Jordan Love. We scored 48 points, the most ever scored against the Cowboys defense in the playoffs. But this is about Aaron Jones and going down into Packers lore, right? Most playoff rushing touchdowns ever in Packers history now is 7. Edgar Bennett is second with 5. He's the only Packer besides Ryan Grant to have 3 rushing touchdowns in a playoff game. He's currently right on a 4-game streak of over 100 yards. Then, if you look at him playing against the Cowboys, he loves to play in Texas. 19 carries, 125 yards, and a touchdown. 19 carries, 170 yards, 4 touchdowns. 24 carries, 138 yards, and a touchdown. And then, obviously, yesterday, 21 carries, 118 yards, and 3 more touchdowns. He gets it done, man. And I believe that Aaron Jones is the best running back ever to rock the green and yellow. Packers win when he gets the ball. He runs bigger and stronger than he looks. He's elusive. He knows how to cut. He's just got the big IQ. Team first. He's humble. Third in all time for Packers rushing yards. His usage rate is actually less than the 2 guys above him. His rushing touchdowns. He's 4th all time in Packers history. 5 yards per carry in a career. He plays his best when it means the most. He's got to be the focal point next week. Packers are 36-10 when he gets 15 touches or more. Niners are going to be prepping for it, but the play action pass from Love is so effective when Jones is getting the ball. Packers are them boys for this week. They got their work cut out for them next week, though. Let's go. Go, Pack, go.
There it is. Look, all I got to say, there was a part in the game where Jordan Love is like, 1, 2, 3. And I'm thinking he's talking about himself. He threw 3 touchdowns, right? No, he was talking about Aaron Jones. And then my man just came on. It's like literally AT&T Stadium is his stadium. And that guy just runs like as if he literally is like walking on water, man. Like he just glides on the field. And I think Todd said it earlier on a tweet. And he's like, "Hey man, we don't get Aaron Jones in October and November. Will we get him for December, January, February? Sign me up, bro." Because right now he looked like he did week 1, fresh legs, and just looked absolutely unstoppable. And if you remember in 2010, I know it could be jinky janky here a little bit, but in 2010, our run game was kind of helter skelter. And then guess who came onto the scene for that playoff run? Now, James Starks was a 6th-round pick out of Buffalo, right? But he came on and established our running game with Brandon Jackson back there, and that really helped our offense kind of really take off into the playoffs. Aaron Jones, he's established, he's known, but we haven't seen him for most of the year. Yeah. Ever since we've been in playoff mode since the Carolina game, honestly, like he has been just lights out. And I don't think my opening statement my guy is Romeo Doubs. But I have to admit, man, Aaron Jones is the truth. And just hearing the way Jaden Reed was talking about how he looks up to him, he loves blocking for him, he hates it when he misses a block for him. I mean, you're just hearing guys that look up to a dude who's a really good dude on and off the field and just want to play their hearts out for him. It feels like this team is just galvanized around not just Jordan, but around Aaron Jones, around everybody to get to where we are. And I picked Romeo Dobbs just because we've been seeing every week a receiver just go off, right? It's a couple weeks it was Watson, right? A couple of weeks it was, majority of the season is Jaden Reed. Dontavian Wicks comes up in there and starts having a great game. Then you got Bo Melton coming out of nowhere and having a great game. Malik Heath with amazing catches. Romeo Dobbs having a couple good games here and there. But Dobbs had literally a breakout game. I mean, 6 for 121 and a touch. Like, what are we doing right now? Like, every time he's getting open, I'm like, how the hell is he so wide open? And just for him, like, there's these like memes about him where he's come out there saying like he either has iron clamp hands or he has stone hands, right? And there's times where he plucks the ball out of the air, and so he used to be dropping some stuff. You're like, man, well, how'd you drop that ball? Even last week, blood, and he had a touchdown that he dropped that Jordan threw another ridiculous pass. And again, you saw him just plucking the ball out of the air and just, he just looked like he was back in Nevada again. Just, was wide open all day and just running all over the place. And I don't know what we're going to do for the rest of the year. I don't know what we're going to do on Saturday, but all I know is that, like, I've never felt as good about a team as I have for this Packers team. I mean, I feel like these years, like 19, 20, 2021, like, we had good teams, right?
Yeah.
It was like it was almost expected because of Rodgers, right? Now we're here where it wasn't expected and we're still kicking butt. And it's like, holy crap, man. Like, we're going to now go and play a bugaboo of ours. We don't do well in Santa Clara. We don't do good.
Got to exercise some demons.
Right? But even, if you remember in the preseason game, I think it was this year or last year, it was a preseason game against the Niners, but Jordan was lining them up. He had no problem attacking their single high safety. And, if they come out here and try to do that same crap again to him, I just love the fact that this man, you can blitz him, you don't blitz him, you can put coverage, you can do whatever you want to do to him. He just still finds a way to get the ball out. And it feels good to know that you have a quarterback. Again, Brett Favre would throw the ball deep, you close your eyes, you don't know where it's going to go. Rodgers would throw the ball deep, you're like, man, for about 14 years, you're like, he's going to get to someone. I can't wait to see what happens. The last couple of years, if it's going to be a throwaway or not, right? Jordan Love, again, I'm just trying to see where it's going now because 21 touchdowns and 1 interception in the last 9 weeks? What the hell? Yeah, so I'm hyped, man. I'm speechless. I think it's just 16 for 21, and he could have had a perfect quarterback rating if Tucker Kraft didn't drop that ball in the fourth quarter. But my gosh, man, doing the best with less, I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
absolutely.
Let's go, man.
Yeah, let's dig into this Packers Cowboys game a little bit more. But joining us on the stage and going to talk with us the rest of the night, maybe the biggest winner of yesterday, right, with the Green Bay W, and his nephew Jake with the monster game of 3 touchdowns. Welcome to the stage and to the show, Scary Alvarez. How are you doing tonight, Scary?
I'm doing good, and probably not half as good as y'all are having me on. I know what an honor this must be. I hope I don't come. Yeah, I hope I don't fade in and out here. I'm at about 25,000 feet over the Atlantic with DJ David Guetta on my jet right now. We're heading over. We were in Dallas, as you might imagine, last night. Kind of a long late night for Grandpa, but got some chilling to do in Ibiza here this week. So I'm happy to take some time out of my busy schedule, though. Although 45 minutes with me is like asking for 2 weeks for any normal person. So just know what an honor, how honored you are for this.
Absolutely. Thank you, Scary, for being able to take the time out of your schedule and join us here tonight. So what do you think of it now that this, Jake's season is over, but Packers season is still going? How are you feeling about the result of this game, Scary?
Yeah, it's a very fair question, and one that I've had to tiptoe around very carefully this week because as you all know, the Packers have been my team for a long time. But then I have a blood relative on the Dallas Cowboys who I molded and nurtured into one of the NFL's finest tight ends. So my daughter and my lovely bride and all these people seem to be big Dallas Cowboy fans now, understandably so. So Grandpa has to kind of have his foot in two worlds last night. The little kind of furtive little fist pumps whenever Jordan Love would do something spectacular, or Aaron Jones would do something spectacular, or maybe Jair Alexander makes a pick. And they get a little kind of a side glance from Cindy, and she, I think she knows the truth. She knows me better than anyone else. My lovely bride of many, many decades. Nice. If you're out there, shout out my pet. But I can't say that I wasn't absolutely gleeful with the result. And the fact that we had that with Jake Ferguson putting on an all-world performance for the Cowboys to make the score closer. We certainly had the one before halftime, but it was really the best of both worlds. I'm flying high right now. Not drugs. Do not do drugs, kids. But I'm literally high and also figuratively high on the Packers. Very excited for that win yesterday in Jerry World.
I was gonna say you must be torn because Jake is probably a Wisconsin person through and through, but it's one of those where it was like the best of both worlds, right? The Packers win, and Jake still had an amazing game. He did look like he got banged up a little bit. Did he turn out to be okay? Because I know you don't want any injuries in the last game of the season, and then got to worry about that going next, in the off season and stuff like that. I'm hoping he's okay, but wow, I can only imagine you being in that position of like having to cheer and then also like have to contain at the same time.
It was tough, but I'm a man of many talents, and I was able to navigate that rather rocky series of situations yesterday. But Jake's going to be okay. I think the biggest thing that was hurt on Jake was his pride, because there's no one in that locker room who cares more than Jake, and you could tell even by the quotes he had after the game when he said the offseason has already started. We got to look inside ourselves. I'm paraphrasing. Lift harder, work harder, pair better, and that has already started for me. So the taste of that loss, despite the fact that he grew up as I hope I'm embarrassing. I'm showing like kid pics, of him as a kid getting Green Bay Packer helmets and stuff. But he's a gigantic Green Bay Packer fan, pre-Dallas Cowboys. But it could be the Cleveland Browns. It wouldn't matter who the hell it was now. He wanted to win that game, and he was just absolutely crushed by the fact they lost. So I'm really proud of him, as all Badger, Wisconsin folks should be. Madison Spartans representing. But he will be absolutely fine. And I think he proved this season, this isn't just grandpa bravado, which I was saying this after he got drafted in 2022, but right. I said he's going to be one of the best tight ends in the league, and it's not going to take a long time. Mm-hmm. And I believe whether you're a fantasy football owner or just an observer of football, Jake proved that he is on the fast track to being one of those guys. Yeah, and, absolutely. This conception that these guys come out of Wisconsin are just blocking, unathletic. He had more athletic plays than any tight end in the league this year in terms of highlight reel things where you're hurdling guys, spinning, beating double teams. So Jake has got the whole package, and he's also plays with an edge. He's not going to let anyone get him down, and it's been a pleasure watching Jake this season, and it's going to be fun watching him keep going.
Can't wait.
Absolutely. I know I miss him at Wisconsin still. I'm a big Badger football fan. I feel like our tight end room is headed in the right direction. But man, I love Jake's time at Wisconsin as well. And one of my best friends and former roommates, he's a huge Cowboys fan. And whenever Ferguson does anything, he's always texting me, saying, "Oh, hey, you're Badger, or your boy. He's making plays for my team." So, I mean, he's working wonders in my social life, even too. Friends I haven't heard from in years that are Cowboys fans, texting me, thanking me for Jake Ferguson. So
I think he's working wonders in your social life. Try going out the town with him sometime. See how that goes. Go in Dallas with Jake Ferguson. You're gonna have plenty of new friends. It's gonna be fine. The fans have really taken to Jake up there.
What I like about him is the fact that like last year he had strict competition with Schultz. Right, Schultz is out. They draft Luke out of Michigan, and he didn't like fall back from that. Like, there was a lot of other tight ends there that, they had Hendershot, they had Schumacher, and then they have him, and it didn't matter. And then the fact that there's so many mouths to feed there, and he's still getting his touches, he's still taking most advantage of all his opportunities. He's set himself up, right? And McCarthy, if he stays there, I think he has a propensity to kind of feature tight ends a lot. We saw that in Green Bay. If he stays there, I could definitely see him kind of like taking this as like a stepping point, because it just takes one big game. I mean, Ferguson's had like good games, but last night was a great game for him. I mean, he didn't give up. Like, that's the thing that got me. Like, yeah, I think the Packers they put the backups in a little too soon. But the truth is like, he was 3 touchdowns is no joke. And I mean, that he was doing stuff over the middle. I'm like, all right, man, what are you, like George Kittle now? What's going on here, man? Like, holy crap. Like, but he looked amazing. And I just think like seeing a young, and he's young too. That's another thing too, right? And him having that with a person like Dak, with that kind of structure, he had the sky's the limit for him. I'm looking forward to seeing how his career blossoms from here. And then kind of being able to support him like this way, to hopefully they don't got to play the Packers anytime soon. So then, you know what, you can really just go gun ho 100% in with your support of him.
Yeah, no, it's great. That's all well said. And just to correct you on one thing, George Kittle aspires to be Jake Ferguson.
Oh,
it's
sorry,
it's not the reverse. Because Kittle, as good as Kittle is, and Iowa turns those tight ends out like, and we turn out running backs, but George Kittle has never had a game as good as the game that Jake had last night in the playoffs. So, I mean, it's just, and I know Jake would shy away from this because he lost the game and he doesn't want any sort of accolades for what happened. But you saw the same thing I saw. And I know you can say it was late in the game, but the reality is he played great before that. So the touchdown before halftime, that could have been, if Dallas would have been locked in, that cutting the lead to 27-7 going into half, that could have been a big step for a comeback, but Dallas just didn't have it last night. The Packers out game planned them, out played them, out efforted them. Every single thing that you could, I mean, I'm telling you, this is gospel, of course, because I'm saying it, but this is something everyone observed. The better team won last night. That was not, I feel like those teams match up 10 times. The Packers win the majority of those games. That was not, it was like fluky about that performance. The better team won yesterday.
I think that people try to do that, right? They'll be, oh, it's luck, or there was no luck involved yesterday. Like, it was a thrashing. And I think last year when we played them, you could have maybe said that was luck, because it did go to overtime, right? But like this game, no way. No. But you're right though. Ferguson catching that touchdown before the first half, and Dallas getting the ball in the second half. That was an opportunity to get momentum back in their way, and unfortunately, it just didn't work out that way.
Yeah, that was it was a lot. I again, controlling for the Jake Ferguson factor. Just as a Packer fan watching that game, just the sheer delight. I don't know if you guys, I mean, once the Packers got that first touchdown, I'm trying to think of a time that I was nervous in that game. You could just tell. Not that it was guaranteed that anything was going to happen, but you just, and add the house money thing to it. I just felt like the Packers from the kickoff, from the fact they accepted the kickoff to start the game, that team knew they were going to win that game.
Oh yeah, they knew they were going to score. That's the reason why you take the ball, in that situation, why you actually ask for it. And you're saying, Scary, the only time I think I was nervous or like kind of on edge during the game was like our first defensive possession. The fact that we made them punt the first possession, I was like, oh my God, sometimes we don't make a team punt at all the whole game, and we did it the first time. And then when we went right down and scored again, I was just like, holy shit, like this is what's going on. So I have a question here to kind of like, as we're talking about this, at what point yesterday did you guys feel like it's over? We got this. It's in the bag. So I know if it was earlier for some than others, but when one of you are ready to jump in there and answer that, I can answer too. But when
age and beauty before youth and not as beautiful. Let me start. Yeah, you're a very handsome man. You're a very handsome man. As confident as I was from the beginning, as I just said, in the terms of kind of like the dagger shot was the first Packers touchdown in the third quarter. I think that was for me I think they made it 31-10. Or I can't remember exactly what the score was. The game was over at that point. That was there was no question in my mind that they had him, because after the Dallas went out and got that field goal, I think the Packers came back and got a touchdown right away, and that was it. I mean, it was curtains. And I know God, because I'm so competitive, I hated, despite the fact that it was my blood relative doing it, the garbage time touchdowns to make the score look respectable. That game could have been 50. That game could have been. There was some not similarity, I would say, to Wisconsin, Nebraska in the Big Ten championship game in 2012, but it had that feel that one team was just hounding the other team after it was 48-17 or 16, and I kind of wish, but it really doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Okay, I yield the floor.
For me, it was when Savage took the interception back. I saw Tramon Williams. I saw high riser 22, just high stepping back, and I'm just like, you got to be kidding me right now. Like, it was 27, 27-0 at that point. I was like, there's no freaking way. And but I'll be with you guys, though. I'll be honest. Until that clock hits 0-0-0 and the game is completely over, I am a nervous wreck. I am just not – I'm just all over the place. I just – I after what we had to go through in 2014 with Seattle Seahawks, that still gives me stomach pain just thinking about that game. So honestly, I wait till everything's done, and then I'm like, all right, I'm good now. Until then, I am a nervous wreck before the game, during the game, and then after the game, it's like the woosah comes out. Like, I think I lost consciousness during the Savage interception because I was like screaming so loud, and I think I cut the oxygen off my brain, and I saw stars. And they weren't Cowboy stars. They were just like stars of unconsciousness. And it was amazing. I don't know where I went. Right? I came back and I was still screaming, so I guess I was okay.
What were you sipping on? Because
Over at that time. I waited to the end of the game. No joke. Yeah, I was like, I'm waiting. I'm gonna wait. It's gonna, And I was like, I don't know what it was. I was like, I'm not having anything during this game. I'm gonna wait till the game. Either there's gonna be a victory drink, or it's gonna be a really bad drink afterwards if we lose. And so it worked out. But no, that's funny you said that, because everyone was asking, what are you drinking? What are you drinking to calm your nerves? I'm like, nothing right now. I don't want anything in my system. I think I fasted, intermittent fasted until like 6 o'clock in the evening. I don't know what. It was a hot mess, man. It was a hot mess.
That's fantastic. I was totally calm. I did sip on about 128 ounces of fine Spanish sherry wine, though, just because I like the taste, though. It had nothing to do with calming me, because my heart rate has never been above 50. But I just enjoy it, and the fact that I have 2 or 3 straws in it, and then it's fine. I mean, it's kind of who I am. Yeah. But people know I'm not doing it because I have any sort of issue or problem with it. It's just because it's part of my heritage, and it's part of my branding. I'm thinking about buying a winery. I have some wine islands with my own brand. I think I'm just like swooping in and getting like Ernest and Julio Gallo, and then making it good. You guys have any contacts?
No, but if you do that, all I ask is a bottle. That's it. That's all I ask, is one bottle. That's it.
Sure, absolutely. Hey, we'll hook you up with a 20% off coupon to stay in one of my Caribbean wine islands during hurricane season. So just let me know when you want that, and we'll hook you up.
Hurricane season. I went to high school and college in Louisiana, so trust me, I know all about hurricanes. You ain't gotta tell me about that.
Well, like Louisiana's ever had a hurricane, like New Orleans has ever had a hurricane. I'm just kidding. A little bit of Katrina humor never gets old.
Never. It's always hashtag too soon, right?
Yeah, it's too soon. It's too soon. I'm going to be very clear here. I have no sympathy for New Orleans. I'm glad y'all have rebounded, and you guys are one of my favorite 50 or 60 cities in America.
Appreciate that.
I gotta agree with Scary, though, on when the nail was in the coffin. Right, Cowboys got a touchdown right before half, even though they had a guard that was a false start. I don't know if you caught that, but they got the touchdown. Mm-hmm. They got the touchdown right before half. They came out, they put a field goal up, and like you said, Scary, it was like a 2.5-minute drive, right? Dobbs had a 46-yard reception on that drive, and Jones capped it off with a 9-yard touchdown run. I knew the Cowboys were going to score a couple more times, but they didn't show anything that was going to slow down our offense. I was like, well, they're probably going to score a couple more times, but at that time it was 34-10 at that time. I knew we were good. It was the Love, Jones, Dobbs show, right? Josh Savage, the front had big plays. Then our front seven caused just enough chaos. But here's the thing. We had sacks, right, from Nixon, Campbell, Van Ness, and Smith. That's all three levels of the defense. That shows you that we might have done some scheming, and it worked. So any thoughts about Joe Barry from anyone? If you're in the if you're out there listening, throw some comments there. Anything to say about Joe Barry, or should we move on?
You know how Walter White had a small spoilers ahead, had a small redemptive arc at the very end of Breaking Bad. I feel like that's happening a little bit with Joe Barry right now as we head into Felina. I'm not saying he's like going back and shooting Nazis or anything. I'm just saying like he's although that would be cool. I'd be cool with that.
I would roll with that.
Let's do that. I don't like the Niners, but they're not that bad. I'm sorry, I don't like the Niners, but they're not the equivalent of the Nazi biker gang. The analogy breaks down at that point. But yes, I do think that Joe, anything short of a Super Bowl, and even not necessarily with a Super Bowl, he's cooked. But it is nice to see him do a little bit. One thing I did notice, I'm not sure if you guys saw this, one of the post-game videos, they're doing some stuff in the locker room, and he does the Vince Carter "it's over" thing. He might have done something else too from the dunk contest. And I'm just thinking, like, that's what everyone was thinking about you, like, the entire season, Joe. Seriously. And there you go, you're breaking out your Vince Carter. But I will say, despite some of the weird, garbage time stuff, that was a good scheme yesterday. I cannot tell you that was not a good defensive scheme. He came in prepared, his players were ready, and they put a hurting on him. It was fun to watch.
It's funny you say that because, like, in every elimination game, Joe Barry has somehow stepped up, right? Even last year when we were playing against Detroit in that last game of the season, our defense was stepping up for majority of the game when offenses couldn't do anything, right? Niners game in the playoffs, defense held them. What, to 13 points? No, I think it was only 6 points.
The blocked punch,
teams, right? That ain't got nothing to do with him. And it kills me to admit that. Like you just said, Vince Carter, there's a picture of Vince Carter because he kept playing until he's like 85 years old, right? He's like, I got one more in me, right? That's Barry. He literally is every week right now. It's like, I got one more in me. And I'm with you. Even if he gets to the Super Bowl, he has to do something, like hold him like 10 points, something crazy. Like he has to like really shut someone down to hold his job. Because even yesterday, 38 points. Was it 38 points? I think it was 38.
32. Yeah.
32. Thank you. And I'm just like, oh, okay. Like I understand we had our backups and this and that, but still though, like, come on, really? But I'm with you guys.
Let me make the counter argument that the Joe Barry should have been fired before this year, even no matter what happens, because it's almost worse. If he were just incompetent or didn't work hard, neither of which are true, I don't think. I don't think he's incompetent, and I don't think he doesn't work hard. But it's either you get it done or you don't get it done.
Exactly.
If he just sucked every game, they had the worst defense in the NFL every game, he could never step it up, then you're like, this guy's just a bad DC. Hey, we move on. But it's almost worse with a guy that can turn it on sometimes.
Yeah, I agree.
Because it makes the times you don't turn it on. It makes the times when you're playing your corners 7 yards off the ball on a 3rd and 2. It makes those moments all the more crazier. Ask them what scheme they think they should be playing. You don't ask your players what scheme they think they should be playing. You tell them what scheme. Exactly. He's just in over his head as a NFL head DC. He might be a position coach caliber talent, but I just think that it's not that I don't want the Packers to make an improbable Super Bowl run or something, but man, if it means having Joe Barry back as the the DC of this team next year, that would be an untenable result. He cannot coach another game for the Packers after the season's over. He cannot do it.
Bernie, man. Bernie could talk for me here because he knows I complain about this every single damn week.
No, he can't come back. I hope we get the Walter White redemption arc. And that would be him doing whatever it takes to beat the 49ers next week, right? This is us exercising some demons And if Joe Barry could sell his soul to the devil for a win next week, I'd let him do it. So that's I'm ready. We'll see him out the door, but let's hope he's got one more in him to get this defense. To get this offense, give this offense an opportunity to win the game next week, right? That's what we need the defense to do, right? We're probably going to need a couple of turnovers next week, right? We're probably going to need 4 or 5 sacks, right, from this defense. But what are your guys' thoughts about that? Like, what are some things that got to go our way next week to do the improbable, right? Because that might be the toughest opponent left for us, right? On paper, if we beat the Niners,
Yeah. Look, you gotta. Detroit and Dallas were the 2 best games of the season for this team. What you need to do is you got to play the second of your 3 best games back to back, which is never easy to do. But if the team that played that game against Dallas comes out and plays the same way against San Francisco, there's no reason to think that. I'm not saying who I'm favoring, but there's no reason to think they can't make a game of that. They can make a game of that. Yeah. And I've been very, very eager to see Brock Purdy exposed. I happen to think that he is the ultimate system quarterback. Mm-hmm. I've challenged people. If you think Jordan Love on the Niners and Brock Purdy on the Packers, I think the Packers might be a 4-win team this year, and the Niners might be undefeated. I mean, it's not – and I'm not saying Jordan Love had growing pains. I'm not saying he didn't. He had some rough times early in the season. But I'm saying the talent level difference in those 2 guys is looking more and more every week. Now watch Purdy drop a 6 touchdown burger on us this week. But, he's a very – Purdy is a great guy for that team. He's a really, really solid NFL quarterback, but there's nothing special about him. And I think special quarterbacks are often the difference in playoff games. So hopefully that works to the Packers' advantage this week. But who knows, man? I mean, maybe keeping money off of this one is a good idea for Packer fans. I'm not saying I'm laying any money on this, but who knows? They have a chance. That's about as far as I'm going to go.
All right. I couldn't agree more. I think that I'm with you on that. I think we saw Brock Purdy get exposed a couple times this year, especially against Baltimore and other teams too. And he is the true definition of a system quarterback. And if you break him out of that system, he can't function correctly. It's been shown time and time again. And I agree with you. If you put Jordan on that team with that talent, with all the firepower that they have, they ain't losing a single game. Like, there are good quarterbacks who can go into a system and perform well based on what's around them and what the scheme is, right? The great and the legend quarterbacks are the ones that take that and they add to it. And you've even seen that even these last few weeks with Jordan, where there's plays that LaFleur dials up that are just masterclass. They're just absolutely amazing. And there's some plays where even the players are saying like, Jordan went off script. He got me the ball, and what do you do? Threw a touchdown. And that's what is the difference made between a person that is just, an average to above average quarterback and a person that is a good, great, or even a legendary quarterback. Now, I'm not saying Jordan's there yet, but he's definitely progressing the right way. And for what you were asking about, Bernie, about what we can do as a team, especially on defense, it seems like Joe Barry does know how to coach against Shanahan's offense. Like, their offensive line, Trent Williams has dealt with a lot of injuries. The right tackle has not been that great. We have an opportunity to – I was hoping that Rashawn Gary would have a bigger game, but I'm happy Lucas Van Ness got his first sack as a rookie in the playoffs, right? But I don't know what Joe Barry's going to do, but whatever he did in 2021 worked, and maybe we could do that again, right? The difference, I think, is like what I've noticed when we play the Niners is our offense. Our offense has always been kind of like hit or miss, right? Like, 2019, they didn't start showing up until the game was way out of hand. But in 2021, as well as in recent times, our offense has been stymied by that pass rush that the Niners have. And they've added pieces to that with Chase Young and Hargrave. So I'm thinking like, I don't have that same fear that I did with, for whatever reason, Rodgers just didn't play well against that kind of front, rush 4 play coverage. Jordan, you can do anything to Jordan. You can blitz him. You can play coverage. You can try and mix things up. He just finds a way. And I am eerily confident in that, which is kind of crazy to say that here we are and wow, first year starter. And he's giving you the kind of confidence that you used to get when you would see 12 back there, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah, man, I'm blown away by his play, over the last couple of months. I think he's the best NFL player over the last 2 months. The stats show it. Just watch the tape.
Yep.
But as for playing the Niners team and like finding a weakness, right? And Purdy might be that, right? The weakness to the offense, but it's just like he's not like a weak player, like right. He's a solid quarterback. He's a game manager. But the Niners had a 3-game losing streak this year, right? At Browns, at Vikings, and then home against the Bengals. Purdy threw 5 picks in those 3 games, 2 against the Vikings and Bengals. And then the Niners didn't have a 100-yard rusher either 3 of those games. But Ayuk, Run, CMC, Kittle, and Debo, all those guys are going to get their touches on Saturday. So I don't know, man. It's like it's going to be a collective effort. And I think it's really going to come down to getting a couple turnovers and getting Purdy out of the pocket and hitting him and getting those sacks and disrupting his flow. But that's the way I see the Packers giving their offense a chance to win it late.
I also remember, that Aaron Rodgers is not going to be playing quarterback for the Packers against the Niners. So I think we have a chance to win this one.
He's bugabooed by them, right? Like he was like 1-6 against them.
Not good.
Crazy. Yeah,
not good. And that in an otherwise first ballot Hall of Fame career, that has been the team by a wide margin that has flummoxed Rodgers' completely unflappable personality that could never be bothered by anything. Never let anything get under his skin. But part of that is with Jordan Love, and it's not to say that he couldn't have an off performance against the Niners. That's certainly within the range of possibilities. But there's something about having a young guy without that baggage that kind of frees him up a little bit. And who knows? We just don't know. I mean, I feel I'm not trying to waffle about how this game is going to go. I think there's a tremendous number of potential outcomes on both sides of the spectrum for winning or losing in this game. Certainly more so than I felt in Dallas. I felt more confident with the Dallas game, but Love maybe doesn't know he shouldn't win this.
Exactly.
He doesn't care.
Yeah.
So
ignorance is bliss, right? Ignorance is bliss.
Yeah, but he's and also he's really talented. But the thing with Rodgers that differs another thing from Rodgers that differs with Jordan Love, is Rodgers' range of outcomes based on his talent level where he was in his career were so narrow last year. He was where he was. Mm-hmm. Love came in with a tremendously lower floor. It's the reality. We saw aspects of that.
Right.
But his ceiling, and it didn't become apparent until the second half of the season, was higher than Rodgers' ceiling. It just was. It's a fact. Yeah. It doesn't mean that Aaron Rodgers can't throw on any given pass a better ball than Love potentially. I'm just telling you, the Jets would take Jordan Love in a heartbeat over Aaron Rodgers right now. We were having a debate before this incredible streak. This was probably maybe after the Chiefs game. He had shown a little bit more after that slump he had about a third of the way through the year. And there were people were obviously arguing whether this guy was a starting caliber NFL quarterback. And I just couldn't understand that. I said, even if he ends up with a 15 touchdown, 15 pick stat line at the end of the season for a non-playoff team, he earned the chance to be the Packer to get at least another year to show he could do it. And the fact that he not only did that, but was probably the best quarterback in the NFL in the last 9-10 weeks is just it's so tremendously exciting as a Packer fan to see this happen, and knowing how absolutely gut-wrenchingly horrifying this must be for Vikings and Bears fans to see this. It's like Jason Voorhees. No matter how many times you think they just reloaded.
He's right there.
Sucks to suck. It sucks, and you can. Some of them coped with this by trying to make an equivalence of the Bears' situation at their quarterback room with Justin Fields and the Packers, even saying that Fields was better and they take him. That was just copium. There's not one Bears fan with who was a serious fan who by the time the Packers played them at the end of the season, who would have taken Justin Fields over Jordan Love? Not one serious fan. And it just feels delightful. And I had someone argue with me about Kirk Cousins. You just want Kirk Cousins on your team. Can you swear on this? Can you swear here?
Yes, you can.
Yeah.
No, the fuck I don't. There is not anyone who wants that weirdo, like goofball old man on their team as a starting quarterback. He's a talented player. And he's probably an okay guy. I don't know. He's kind of a weirdo, but loves the guy. Loves the guy. I'm sorry. I will say I'll apologize next time y'all have Kirk Cousins on your show. I can jump on and say I'm sorry. But I'm kind of meandering here because I've had a couple share. He says we've gone and David Guetta threw something at me and said take a sip of this. But just how exciting it is in a positive sense to have this Jordan Love situation going forward as a Packer fan, and how exciting it is in a competitive sense to know other fans are absolutely destroyed by the fact that how good he is. It's a wonderful gift.
They're in shambles. I was that last night. I'm like, Vikings and Bears fans, even Lions fans are probably thinking like they did it again. Like literally like what's my man Jesse or from also from Breaking Bad, right? They can't keep getting away with this. And that's exactly what it is. And
I think I did that myself. I will say this though, there's a sort of a Viking-centric show called the Paul Farrington Show. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that, but it's a really solid YouTube show. These guys are just devastated by this Jordan Love development, but these guys are also honest brokers who tell it like it is, and they live in the real world, and they're very complimentary and stuff. And that's one. I don't want to throw the whole fan base in the scrap heap. There are some Viking fans who are thinking fans who can appreciate as NFL fans what is happening again. They just can't believe it. So they don't. Their way of coping is being honest and understanding what this means and how we go forward with it, instead of trying to pretend that you'd rather have Kirk Cousins than Jordan Love right now, which is great.
I did not think we would be here when we drafted Jordan Love, and now where we're at, I think we've set the precedent. Like, this is what you need to do. Every year, like every time you're trying to hand off to the next quarterback, this is the way we got to go. But thinking about next week, I'm trying to find everything in my mind to grow my optimism. Sometimes teams lose their momentum during a bye week, right? You find that rhythm with your offense, or you have that communication rolling with your defense, but you take that off week and you're away from a game. And sometimes you might have a slow start to a game, or there's just, you've lost some of your momentum. Is that something you think that the Niners could happen with the Niners? I know they have one of the best coaching staffs in the game, but is there a chance the Niners come out flat? Is there any chance of that at all?
Go ahead. You take this one.
Okay. So there's a gift of Paul Rudd, and he's like, "Who thought we would be here?" And he's opening up a wine glass, right? Not me, right? And when you said that when we drafted Jordan Love, who'd have thought in 3 years, his first year starting, we would be here? Nobody. I mean, I said we were going to go 13-4 this year because I'm just optimistic like that. But I didn't think. I mean, I was just talking shit. I didn't think it was going to get. Maybe I was manifesting, right? But the truth is, like, the Niners are like that team that have done everything. They're like what the Eagles were, just the Eagles are this year, and other teams that will do everything they can to get a championship, right? Trade for Chase Young, going and grabbing other weapons, and just getting Hargrave, trying to do as much as they can to build that team, getting Christian McCaffrey, right? They do all this, and they still keep coming up short. And I agree with you. When you have a team that had a bye week, and they've been resting players now for 3 weeks. They were resting them 2 weeks out before even like the last season. And then they were playing backups the last week. And then they have a bye week. So they could come out slow. And that is a time where the Packers have to jump up on them. Because it has been shown statistically, I think Shanahan is like 1 in like 42. Something crazy if he's down by 10 points or more in the first half. Like, it's something crazy. He doesn't play well from playing from behind because he likes to push the envelope. And he proved that. I mean, hell, he proved that in the Super Bowl when, they were up 28-3, and he didn't know what the hell to do. Same thing both times Super Bowls when he was with the Falcons and when he's with the Niners and he was playing the Chiefs. I mean, he has shown that he has difficulty with either playing from behind or even playing with the lead. So I think that this is a great opportunity for us to, if they come out flat or slow in the beginning, we have to take advantage of that. Because if you don't, it could become
I mean, that's all well said. And I can tell you one thing. Shanahan would much rather be playing the Eagles this week.
100%.
I don't think there's any question in the world he'd rather be playing the Eagles.
Or
I think what I'd like to see is, in pregame, I want someone. It can be LaFleur. It can be someone else. I want them just to go and bend his baseball hat brim. Shanahan's douchey flat baseball. And just bend it like it's like 1978. Like it used to be like you put a little bit of grease on your hands and I don't know. This sounds like something that's very personal to me. I don't know. I don't. Shanahan just has such a punchable face. I can't stand that guy. Yeah, but yeah, I'm going to echo. Besides the important things, I'm going to echo these other things you said, all which true. I think having some time off can be tricky. And I remember there was a playoffs. 2012. The Packers had a bye week. They had a really good team, and then the Giants came in and just laid the woodshed to us. Now, granted, that same Giants team did, I believe, win the Super Bowl that year, but okay, that was a wild card team. So that was pretty exciting, and I'm just hopeful we're not gonna surprise them. They know we're on notice now. They watched the same game everyone else did yesterday. The Niners know the Packers are good. They're not gonna take us lightly. But are they gonna be rusty? Yeah, maybe a little rusty. I'm okay with that. So let's game on and see what happens. Bend that brim and kick some ass. Let's go.
I love that because you're so right. It's like he just bought it at the store and he just put it on his head. He didn't try to.
You know what he probably has? He probably has it like a rock star and a rioter that he has to have a certain number of flat brimmed Niners hats on a table, or they get fired. I've done a deeper dive on this than anyone else in the world. Clearly, I do not have PTSD. Flat brim hat didn't do me wrong in a past life. I'm just telling you, real men bend the hat. Just throwing that out there.
No, I'm with you on that.
So bend your hats if you guys haven't bent them.
Hey guys, I'll be right back.
Okay.
No,
I was going to say.
I got some hats to bend. I got some hats.
Me too.
You're going to be like, hey, I got to go bend some hats. I'm like, oh, I think I know what that means.
I got all them right there. They're all black.
Gotta go bend. Need a few minutes alone to bend my hat.
Yeah. Give me a few minutes. I got to bend my hat.
Hey, by the way, I just noticed this. I had my unpaid intern, Joe Ferguson, help me with the technology here. I noticed you have some comments. So, hey, shout out to Martian Gatos and Defective and Todd Runge and these are some really, really Beer the Deer, Sports Talk, some great comments that so you got some good fans here, and I really appreciate them.
Yeah, they be sharing. We try to share their comments as they push them up. A lot of good folks they be following. My boy Soder and me be always talking on the Cheesehead TV chats all the time, and so we always be talking trash all the time. He's good people too.
Good stuff. Hey, if any of y'all are listening and you're Wisconsin Badger fans, I'm a shameless self promoter. I have something called the Scary Alvarez podcast on YouTube and also Spotify. Periodically. More so during the seasons, but we, once or twice a week, we usually have Wisconsin athletes on the show. Just a couple of days ago, I had a couple of Wisconsin women's hockey players. Fun time. Had Carter Gilmore from the Badgers recently, but sometimes it's just me talking shit, which is great too. Those tend to do the best for some reson.
I mean, I might jump on this.
check it out. I mean, it's a fun time. If you like this, you'll like it. It's if you're not a Wisconsin sports fan, it may not tickle your fancy. But if you are, Wisconsin Badgers, there's something to like for everyone there. So I appreciate you letting me plug that.
Yeah, absolutely. I can attest to it. I love the show, Scary. I love, I watch, football and basketball, Badgers, I guess religiously you could say. Obviously I follow both hockey teams, the volleyball team, and getting to see all the athletes on there, giving them that platform. And obviously you get a good laugh as well in every episode. So definitely go check it out. It's one of my driving podcasts. I have a few that I consider my driving podcast. That's one of them. But hey, let's take a few more minutes to talk about this. We're gonna go a few minutes extra if that's good with you, Amar. Go a few extra minutes tonight. But we're talking about this wide receiver core, and it seems like it's a different guy each week having a big week, right? Who do you think it is that could have a big week in San Francisco next week? Because we're going to need somebody to have go off.
I'll start. I think Jaden Reed is who I'd be looking for, and it's not that he's a selfish player that he goes, I didn't get any grabs in the worst offensive disassembling in Dallas Cowboys history. I didn't get a single catch, but part of the reason other people did so well is because of the weapons we have collectively. Why they had to play some of those weird zones that everyone's like, why are they doing the zone? I'm like, stay in that zone, Dallas. Stay in that zone. Yes. So I'll be looking for Jaden Reed on some slants and stuff, doing a lot of slot receiver stuff. And I wouldn't be a bit shocked if Reed had 8 to 10 catches against the Niners this week.
Man, I'd love that. I think we're due for a big Jaden Reed game. Amar, do you have a wide receiver in mind?
Man, so I feel like you saw Watson was like double and triple covered this whole game, right? And if you go back and watch like how Steve Wilkes kind of defends guys, he did do a little bit of what D'Amico Ryans does. They don't bracket much. They just literally let their corners kind of do their thing. Like they do a lot of single high. They kind of like stack the box, make the corners just put on the island, and hope that pressure can get where it gets. So I can see this being a Watson game. I can see like big stage, like. The one thing I've noticed with Jordan, and this is how Rodgers was too in the beginning, early parts of his career, was like it wasn't about just getting the ball to a number one receiver, right? He spread the wealth. And I feel like that's going to happen again. I'm not even going to go receiver. I'm going to go Tucker Kraft. I'm going Tucker Kraft is my blow-up player because I love watching this man play football. That guy is a freaking bowling ball. He's like Juggernaut. He's literally the Juggernaut from X-Men. Literally just gets the ball and just bowls through people, trying to jump over people like it's a damn kangaroo. I don't know what he's doing, but I love it. And every time he gets a ball, I don't know who he's going to hurt or he's going to get hit the balls again. I don't know, but I'm going Tucker Kraft, man. I'm going to the left field. I'm going Tucker Kraft, baby.
I dig it. I'd love to see a Tucker Kraft game. He runs angry and he looks to hurt people when he's got the ball. I mean, he looks to hurt people if he doesn't have the ball too. He's just looking to hurt people, I'm pretty sure.
Hear his quote, like when he's talking about he loves hearing when he's blocking someone into the ground and hears their breath come out of their body. It's like their soul in their body. I'm like, bro, what are you now doing?
I'm glad he found football because he might be in jail otherwise. But I'm gonna go with Todd here. I think Wicks, man.
Yeah.
I like Wicks. We all know what he can do.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping we see a big Wicks game, get his hand on the balls because that's what Dobbs did. What Dobbs did this weekend. I could see Wicks having that kind of game next week with 3 or 4 splash catches like that. It's we're seeing Malik Heath. Is he going to be here to play? Marcigato.
Yeah.
Hey, I don't want to stop your momentum here, but I just wanted to say something that I want to make sure this gets recognition. How excited I was to see Luke Musgrave stay upright on that long pass. He himself looked excited. I looked surprised that he did not fall down.
Yes.
And I believe there was something in the locker room after that where LaFleur said something about it. But that should hopefully be the boost of confidence he needs to not inexplicably lose his balance. This is a professional athlete of some stature and tremendous talent. So I think maybe this was the hump he had to get over. But maybe put that together and have 2 straight games where he doesn't fall down inexplicably.
It's funny you say that because like there was things you said about how like Reed and he's not like a big mouth, right? He's not about I need the ball, and that's what Coach had said. He said 2 things. One, they literally celebrated Musgrave for keeping his feet and scoring a touchdown. The fact that everyone celebrated, it made me feel good knowing that us fans aren't the only ones that see the same thing and they see it too. Thought that was hilarious. And the coach said it too about the receivers, where he says like Christian Watson and Reed barely did anything, but they were acting like they had 100-yard games because all these guys, they don't care about the accolades. Maybe in a couple years from now, when it starts impacting contracts and money and stuff like that, they might, right? But right now, they just want to win the game. They don't care who gets it. And the fact that they're all young, they're all around the same age, they're all kind of learning together and developing together. It's such a team first attitude, which you would think is a basis when it comes to Pee Wee football, all these different levels of football. When you get to the NFL, like, you would hope that's ingrained in guys, but people do have a selfish game at times, and you're not seeing that with this team. And that's one thing
money changes people. Money changes people.
It does.
So.
And by the way, I like Watson a lot. I think if he stays healthy, his upside is incredibly high. I've actually had side bets on how good I think he can be. But they say that, one thing I saw was they hope that Watson can end up like Wicks someday. So
that's
faint praise, but all that does is underscore how much talent is in that room, because there's room for both of them to be great downfield threats and field stretchers and boundary guys, and it's really exciting to have that problem. And I say this is the growing pains that this offense went through this season notwithstanding. If you have a healthy Christian Watson every game, you may not have seen some of the things that some of these other guys can do. So it's weird how it's worked out. And now, if you got these guys all healthy, it's going to be a real problem for a lot of teams. Boy, some bad news with the Ekabari injury though. That's a real killer, probably an ACL for him, because he's had very quietly a really good rotational season for Green Bay. So shout out to him. I hope he has a good surgery and things. He can make an impact in 24.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Do you think who's next man up mentality? Who's going to get those snaps, or
Brenton
is
Cox.
someone gonna?
Yeah,
what's that?
Cox.
Paxton Cox, probably Cox, and then
dude,
Brooks at 305 pounds was playing outside of Bowling Green. He played like literally all over the field when he was at Bowling Green. He played outside linebacker. He played inside. He played 2 tech, 3 tech, 1 tech. He did everything. Hell, I put him on the edge. I'm just saying, like, you got Cox, you got Brooks. I mean, I don't know. We have depth that we've never had before on that defensive line.
Yeah. Raise your hand if you like. Yeah, raise your hand if you like Cox. I mean, there it is.
I know where you're going. I didn't give a damn.
Never happened, did you? But he's. I mean, for how they got him, and how cheaply they got him.
Yep.
What an incredible again front office job with. I mean, the 23 draft and the 23 free agent class, if you will, street free agent class, has been something to behold. So that's great work by Good and some of his guys.
Goody's in his bag. You're not lying. Like, to get a talent like Brooks, who's a 5th round pick, and if you looked at his RAS score and all, his athletically, he didn't test that great. But you don't like that. Obviously doesn't translate, right? But holy crap! Like, just seeing him on the field, he's always around the ball. He's always making plays, and having him coming in situationally and just doing that, just like JJ Eganbara was doing, right? He wasn't like a full-time starter. He was, he came up in a reverse role. You would do the same thing with Brooks and get him more playing time. You're not hurting yourself doing that. I personally feel like you're not hurting yourself. And yeah, it's one of the few times where like I saw a player go down and I'm like, man, like when I saw McDuffie go down, that concerns me, because I think McDuffie's really come on these last like 8 games. Like, Campbell's great, don't get me wrong, veteran presence, and I feel like he's trying to put that high ankle sprain behind him. But man, like McDuffie I feel like he does when he goes 100 miles an hour. It doesn't matter if he's right or wrong. He's gonna go 100 miles an hour, and
oh yeah,
he's been right more times than wrong lately. So I'm loving it.
Good stuff.
He plays with his hair on fire, that's for sure.
And he ain't got no hair. That's the best part.
He burned it all off. But hey, let's finish up the 49ers talk with X factors. So what's the X factors or multiple X factors, whatever you have for the Packers to score the upset? Or give me your biggest X factor, or however you want to do it. If someone wants to go first, otherwise
you go first.
Okay. I kind of said it earlier. I think they're gonna need 2 turnovers, and they're gonna need to sack Purdy 5 times. So that Super Bowl run, right? We had in 2010, 11. We gave up a lot of points and we gave up a lot of rushing yards with that defense, but we were like top 5s in the NFL in sacks. We were top 10 in the NFL in takeaways that season. So that's what it's going to be this week, right? I got all the confidence in the world in this offense right now, but this defense, the X factor is going to be sacks and takeaways. I'm going to leave it at that. Just short and sweet, sacks and takeaways.
I'll go.
I guess raise your hand if you love sacks.
Yes. And my hands are neatly folded, but emotionally I'm raising my hand. Stop Christian McCaffrey and make Brock Purdy beat you. That's the game plan. I mean, defensively. That's it. I mean, easier said than done, obviously, the best running back in the NFL, arguably, but that's it. Make this quarterback that everyone's been gassing up all season as the man beat you. And if you do that, you stop McCaffrey and Brock Purdy beats you, I think you can live with it.
I'm going to go with Kenny Clark. He's been literally playing lights out these last few weeks, and the interior of the Niners offensive line is not that great. So Kenny Clark, and honestly, our offense needs to be the X factor, because like our defense obviously plays better with this lead. It's just that's how they're built. That's how Barry goes, right? And if Jordan can just keep going and doing, and that's not Jordan, him and Aaron Jones, like the two of them have been playing literally amazing. And Aaron Jones has the most rushing yards in the last 4 weeks. He needs to continue doing that. Maybe we get back AJ Dillon having that 1-2 punch, because as much as I like Wilson, he just didn't really he didn't look like he had much juice out there. And I know with AJ, he's that dude that just, you know what, like third, fourth quarter, you ain't trying to tackle that 250-pound behemoth, man. You're just not. And you putting him there with Aaron Jones, who's just like, grease lightning. I truly feel like Kenny Clark and our offense are going to be the X factors, because if we keep just going like we are on offense, where it just seems like we're just unstoppable, which sounds crazy, right? But we just keep scoring, and oh man, you just put your defense in the right position. Just taking advantage of drives, making sure you come back with 3 or 7 every drive, or at least having long sustained drives to keep your defense fresh. Because from what someone told me, they had 84 plays on defense this last game. So that defense is exhausted. So they go and, they don't even have a full week to recover. That's another thing. We're playing Saturday, and it's like, well, we just played on Sunday, so we get 1 day less, which is another funny thing, right? But yeah, just offense and Kenny Clark are my X factors.
All right. Dig it. Well, we can jump into our last words. I'm just going to say I'm on cloud 9 right now, and I'm going to be on cloud 9 for a while. Even if the Niners beat us by 3 scores or something next week, I hope not. But honestly, I don't think it's going to faze me at all if it's a bad loss. This season is a huge success. We're young. We had a chance to get immediate reinforcements right in the draft and cap space opening up this offseason. We could be, thinking confidently about a Super Bowl run potentially next season if we make the right picks and moves. So once again, this Sunday, I'm going to be chilling, watching the game, steeping teas and smoking J's. It's easy to relax when you've already exceeded expectations. All right, man. That's what I got to say for this evening, I guess. What do you
smoking J's? Are you referring to inhaling a marijuana cigarette?
Yeah, I mean, I might put the green in Green Bay. So
let's clarify real quick.
just curious. Hey, final words. The term "house money" is used probably too often as a cliche in sports, but the Packers were playing with it in Dallas. Look what happened. They're playing with double in San Francisco, and having a team playing fast and loose and believing in itself at the same time is a dangerous thing. That does not mean they're going to beat the Niners. I'm not going to pick them at this point. I'm not picking anyone. We already went over that. Yeah. But I wouldn't. Certainly, there are more shocking things than Green Bay going into, I won't say San Francisco. What is it? Santa Clara. It's a ways from San Francisco. Yeah. That big, ugly stadium. And taking care of business would not shock me in the least. So it's a question of not, is this season a good one? It's how good is it going to end up being? And I am just so excited for 2024 already. And having the Rodgers pick as an extra second round pick, it's going to be a fun offseason, and it's going to be a really, really fun team to watch in the fall. And the more that we can do now, all the better.
Absolutely. Great last words.
I don't know if I can even follow up you too right there, but the truth is,
I have the best words.
Straight up. I have to admit, like, we aren't even supposed to be here right now. So I'm going to take advantage of this ride and enjoy it to its fullest. Because the truth is like everyone says, house money, Cloud9, everything that we're experiencing right now is something that people, national media, all the Aaron Avengers, all the haters, all these folks, everyone's like, hey, you guys weren't supposed to be good. We're supposed to not even get 6 wins, let alone 9 wins getting the playoffs. And the script writers might be in their bag because you got a 7th seed that can somehow keep winning and do some damage in the playoffs. No one expected that, right? And let's be real, like 2010, 2011, when we went our Super Bowl run, we did the exact same thing. We were a wild card team. We played the number 2 seed of Philly, beat them, NFC East team. Then we go to a number 1 seed Atlanta in their house and we whoop the hell out of them. And then we play a division rival, the Chicago Bears, before winning the Super Bowl. This shit could work out the exact same way, which sounds absolutely insane to me, but history does repeat itself. And so I don't do predictions. Bernie knows me. I don't do that stuff because I like it's janky jank. But the truth is like I'm just loving this ride, and win or lose, this was a successful season. So now we have more than likely we have our quarterback for the next 15 years. And the Bears, the Vikings, hell, even Detroit can't even say that because Jared Goff is what, like 30, 33, 34 years old. I'm just saying, like we're good. We're good for a very long time, and I'm just loving the ride, man. I'm gonna stay on it as long as I can.
I love Jared Goff in the movie Barbie. He played Ken.
I know, right? Dude, you've never seen Ryan Gosling and Jared Goff in the same room. I completely.
It's because they're the same person. Jared Goff is the football name and the porn name.
That's it.
All right, guys. Well, this has been a true pleasure for both of you, and thanks for having me on. And I hope we can do this.
I have no idea.
Spend an hour and 10 minutes again someday.
I can't wait.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us, Scary. Check out his Scary Alvarez podcast on Spotify and YouTube. As always, I'm Bernie Bango. This is Coast to Coast Packers. Amar, take us out.
All right, guys. Go Pack Go. Amar Desai. Thank you for joining us. So hopefully we got a victory coming up next week, and looking forward to seeing all you here next Monday.